It's 12:30, so I'm just waiting now. Hmm. I can't wait to call you. See, I can't wait to call you after and tell you about it. I'm gonna have to minimize the screen. You told me to deep breathe and close your eyes and breathe deep through your nose in. Wow, it's 12:31 now. I'm still waiting. So nervous. Hello?
Hi Diana, it's Rachel calling from Holding Redleaf. How are you?
Good, good. Nice to meet you, Rachel. I was waiting for your call.
Yes, yeah. It's now still the time, Diana, to discuss your application further?
Yeah, it's the perfect time.
Yeah, perfect. Look, I'll tell you where I'm at your recruitment process.
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. Sure. Yes.
We've got down to our sort of top five.
Okay.
Give you a call.
Yeah, sure.
Talk about your experience.
Yes, sure.
In a graduate role, and then I can let you know what the next steps in the recruitment process would be should you be successful.
Okay, sure. No worries.
Do you want to talk to me firstly, Diana, about your law degree?
Yes, sure. So I've been studying at ANU, Australian National University, and I do a Bachelor of Law, and I also do a Bachelor of Commerce. So for my law degree, I've completed all of the Priestley 12, so all of those required law courses. And I think recently I actually did a law internship, which was a really good experience because that was a very limited time period. I only had around 3 weeks and I was working full time during those 3 weeks, as well as writing I think like a 3,000 word essay during that 3 weeks, and I was able to do that. And I also completed a course report, which was 1,000 words. So I had to do all of that during the 3 weeks, and I found that like to be like a lot of things to do, but I was able to complete it, and I actually got like 100% for that course report, which is really rare at my law school because they are very like tough on the grading system. It has like one of the toughest grading systems in Australia actually, and so it was so I was really happy that I got like an 80 a HD for that course, yeah. And I have been receiving a distinction average for my law degree, despite it being like one of the toughest grading systems in Australia.
Perfect. And in
Yeah, so it would be, I've already completed my degree. So I'm graduating in my ceremony. So I'm pretty much already like completed, but just my ceremony is in December. So I've completed it since June or July. So I'm just waiting for the ceremony at the moment.
Yep. All right, perfect. And in terms of your law degree at uni, what were some of your favourite law subjects?
Yeah, so I think that one of my favorite law subjects was property law. I found that to be very helpful because I'm currently working at a property law firm, and I was able to see all of the all of the stages that we were taught, like for example, exchange and also settlement. I was like, actually able to experience that at my current role, so I found that to be very useful. And I found the cases to be very, sorry, my mom is just like outside. Is it okay if I just put you on hold for like 1 minute?
Yeah.
Sorry, my mom is just knocking my door. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah,
Okay.
so so I found property law to be very interesting. I did very well in that. It's got 85, I think 80. I got a HD for that course. I also enjoyed intellectual property law. This was very interesting to me because it's kind of like a new kind of law that that's like kind of developed in like the 20th century because of like all of the because of technology particularly. So I found that to be very interesting, and I found the cases to be very interesting as well to read. And the other one would be it's a tricky one because I did so many of them. Uh, yeah, let me think. It would be litigation. I found the litigation course to be very interesting because it was kind of different to like the others which were based on the not the procedural aspect. It was based on substantive law, but litigation, it was based on procedural law, and you were able to learn about like all of the processes in from like the claim to getting into the court. So I found that to be a very interesting law subject to study, which is because it was procedural law.
Great. And in terms of your legal work experience so far, I
Yes.
know you've
Yep.
been at Oz Property Law since March
Yes, I
2017.
have. Yeah.
Why are you looking at moving on from that role?
Yeah, so this is a role that I obtained when I was studying my law degree, and I found this to be a really good role for me because I wanted to gain practical experience while I was studying at the same time, and this was a perfect fit for me because I was able to work part time. As well as study full time, and I was also able to work full time at the firm during like the semester breaks, and so that was a really good role for me to during my degree. But I wanted to work for like a bigger law firm and work with like a bigger team once I graduate. So that was a good role for like balancing my studies with my work. But when I graduate, because I am just about to I am like about to receive my law degree at the end of this year. I did want to like look for like an opportunity that is more challenging and it's different. Since I've been working in property law for a while, I'm interested in working in construction law, which is what you have, because that's like a different take on property law, and it's like it's kind of it's very closely related, but just like a totally different perspective. And you're working with different clients, so I think like you're working with like developers and also like public companies, large firms. Whereas in my current role, I've been working with like like family clients, like newlywed couples who are just looking to buy the first property, and also like individuals who are like looking to buy a property or sell a property. So it's yeah, so that's why I'm kind of like looking to move on so I can like learn more, so I'm able to like gain more knowledge in relation to law, and I'm also able to yeah just like work with a bigger team.
Perfect. And in terms of your plan for completing PLT, did you do
Yes, sure.
PLT through uni or is that something that you're going to be doing next year?
Yeah, so I plan to do that. I think I plan to do that in the coming year because I think all of the. I was waiting for my results to come out this year because you can't apply for PLT until like all of the academic results came out. And when it came out like it just passed the cutoff line, which was like the first date for PLT to begin. And so I think that the next one, I don't think they offer any more this year. I think the next one is probably early next year. Yeah. So I am looking to complete it I want to look for a flexible one where I can work, where I can do like the all of the courses after work. So I think an online one would be ideal instead of having to like go physically to like the classes to learn about it. So that's what I'm looking for at the moment.
All right, great. And should you be successful for our graduate role, when would you be able to commence?
It depends. When do you want the graduate to begin?
So this side of Christmas, so obviously it would depend on how quickly we can progress the recruitment process.
Yes,
And then
sure.
also, obviously, we know a lot of the candidates do have current roles, so it
Yeah.
would matter. It would depend on what the period is for your current role as well.
Sure, sure. I'm not too sure. Like, I think the any time like is convenient, but I do prefer next year. Early next year would be good.
Yep. Okay. Did you have any issues if it was to start this year?
I think with my colleague because currently I'm just managing everything at my law firm, and I have to train another colleague to be able to do my work. I'm not sure if they'll be able to like grasp the skills quickly enough. So that's the difficulty of me leaving. Or just like leave a gap in the firm, and no one else knows how to do that area, and no one else is able to train another person to do that.
Yep, that's fine. And in terms of an example of one of your major strengths, do you want to talk me through one of those and perhaps an example?
Yes, sure. I think one of my major strengths is that I'm always happy to learn and take on more responsibilities. An example is one of my colleagues. She worked on settlement side of conveyancing, and I was doing the front end of conveyancing, which was pre-settlement, and that included like pre-exchange up until exchange. And so that colleague, she left with just a few days of notice to my employer, and my employer, she was very distressed because the following week after she left, there was around settlements taking place every day. And so she didn't know what to do because there was no one else in our firm who knew how to do the settlement stage of conveyancing, and I didn't know as well. But I felt like that I could learn how to do that, so I decided to take responsibility, and I decided to tell my boss that I wanted to help my boss, and I also wanted to help the company, and I was also happy to learn, like gain new knowledge on the settlement stage of conveyancing. So I decided to tell my boss that I can take over my previous colleague's role. That time, when as soon as I found out that my previous colleague was leaving, I just asked her if I could sit beside her and watch how she did all of the settlement side. And then I asked her a lot of questions. I also watched her. I also stayed before and after work so that I could try to gain as much knowledge while she was still with us. And then so I took a lot of notes, and I also when I began the following week, I was very organized. I had the notes beside me, but I also had to research for each matter just to see like where it was up to. And then so I would go to the file notes, and I'll also go to the documentation. So the file notes will have like in detail like exactly where it's up to. I will also read the email correspondence. The good thing about email correspondence is that if you open the most recent email, you'll be able to see a chain of email, and you'll be able to get like a good idea of what you need to do and what's happening. And I also looked at previous matters. So, for example, sale New South Wales. I'll look at a previous sale New South Wales and see how that was done, and I followed a similar structure. And so that's how I learned how to do settlements. And I didn't have anyone to ask. To like ask for like advice or like ask for like guidance on how to do it, but it was helpful because I had to learn how to do PEXA, which is Property Exchange Australia, which is mandatory in New South Wales and Victoria. I had to learn how to do that myself, and I found it very helpful that they had a support team, and then so I would call the support team to ask for help at the beginning. And then now that like I have a good idea, my colleague, my employer, she would ask me for tips on how to do settlements, and she'll ask me for tips on how to do like PEXA. And so as a result, I've been managing the settlement stage of conveyancing since I think since July last year, since my colleague left. And then so I have like a good 1.5 months experience, 1 year, sorry, not 1.5 months, 1 year and a half, 1 year and a half of experience of working the settlement stage. I think I've settled like hundreds of settlements, like both by paper and both electronically via PEXA, and I've been able to teach myself how to do that.
Great. And why should we offer your graduate role with us, Diana?
Yeah, sure. So I think that it's a good opportunity for you because I have like around almost 4 years of experience of working throughout law firms. I have like diverse experience in diverse practical experience in law. So and also I feel like that because I've been working at a property law firm for almost 3 years now. So I think by March next year it'll be around 3 full years of working at a property law firm, and I feel like property and construction, infrastructure and projects is quite related. It's just like a different take of perspective. I don't know. I think you also work with contracts. I'm not completely sure, but I am quite familiar with contracts, and you have offices in New South Wales, Sydney. Sorry, you have offices in Sydney and as well as Melbourne. Am I correct? Yeah. So I'm familiar with both property contracts in Sydney as well as Melbourne. And I'm sorry, do you have an office in Brisbane?
Yes, we've got a
Yeah.
Brisbane office and then a Cairns office as well.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so I'm familiar with the good thing about my firm is that I've been gaining experience. I work on matters that are both in Victoria, New South Wales, and Queensland, so I'm familiar with property contracts in all of those states. And because I'm familiar with contracts and you also work with contracts, I already have like a good background in working with contracts. I think the only thing that I haven't been doing is providing legal advice because it's something that a lawyer is required to, and I need to like do my PLT to be able to do that. So, but I am familiar with like working with contracts and liaising with different people. So I liaise with, so I'm used to liaising with banks, clients, and I'm sure that you work with developers. I've also had to like speak to like developers as well as brokers and sorry, the the developer solicitor. So I have like a good communication skills and good knowledge to be able to liaise with them and obtain the information that I need or relay any information. And I also believe that I'm very passionate about this area of law, so this property area, construction area. So I think that having the passion is very important because it's important to be able to enjoy your work, and it means that I'll be able to do my best and willing to commit and put in effort.
Yep. Perfect. Um, so that's all of the questions that I have for you at this point in time,
Sure,
Diana.
sure, no worries.
Did you have any questions for me? I can talk you through sort of where to from here.
Yeah, sure. So I just wanted to know more about what this role encompasses.
Yeah, so it's a graduate role purely in our construction group. So
Yes, sure.
the type of work. You have contacted Rachel Lanigan. I'm currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the beep or press 0 to divert your call to reception. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, wait while I transfer your call.
Hi, I was just speaking to Rachel Lanigan and the line just cut off. Thank you. Hi, Rachel. Sorry, I think the line just cut off all of a sudden. Sorry about that.
Oh, yes, yeah, no, that's fine. So where did you hear up to?
I think I just heard after I asked the question of what does the graduate role encompasses, and then it's like kind of cut off there.
Okay, so in terms of what our
Yeah.
So in our construction team, we've got both front and back end construction lawyers.
Yeah,
So
sure.
the front end construction lawyers would deal with contracts.
Yep.
So as a graduate, you get to have a look at contracts, review
Yep.
them, draft them, anything like that.
Okay. Yep.
And then our back end construction team do litigation. So you'd also
Oh,
get
okay,
exposure
cool.
to
Yeah.
construction litigation. So it is a varied role.
Yeah. Yeah.
There'd also be opportunities to do legal research, prepare briefs, attend court, attend client meetings. No 2 days would be the same.
Sure.
Really. So that's sort of a snapshot about sort of
Yep.
what our graduates would go through.
Okay, sure. And I also saw on your website that this is a contracts role, so it would go until August 2020.
Yeah, so we're initially looking for a fixed term contract role. All of our graduates here at Holding Redley are on fixed term contracts.
Oh, okay, sure.
Closer to that time, we assess needs of the business.
Yeah.
Obviously, whether this is the right law firm for you, Diana.
Yep.
Whether you're the right candidate for us.
Sure.
And what the practice group needs are in the future.
Oh, I
And
see.
there may be the opportunity to be offered permanent employment after your graduate contract comes to an end.
Okay, sure, sure. Okay. Yeah, I think that's actually quite common with graduate programs because they're normally like a fixed term, so I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just quite common practice across all legal firms. It's just a fixed term contract, and then from there, it just depends on sort of what work there is there, and
Yeah.
obviously how you perform during your time in the group as to whether there is the opportunity for permanent employment after.
Sure, and I'm just wondering, in terms of PLT, is that also included in your graduate program, or is that something that we do ourselves?
So it's a case-by-case situation. In the
Yeah.
past, we have had people that have done it through the firm, through College of Law,
Yep.
but we have also brought on graduates who have been required to do it themselves, either
Oh,
through
I
uni
see.
or
Sure.
through College of Law or a different provider if you prefer that.
Okay, sure. And I just wanted to also know, like, what is the thing that you like best about working with Holding Redlich?
I would say the culture here.
Yeah.
So everyone at the firm is really friendly. We've got a
Yeah.
open door policy, so all of our partners are easily accessible.
Mm.
We're not too big, so you don't know everyone that you're walking past, but we
Mhm.
are big enough to still bring in the quality clients. There's also lots of training and lots of career opportunities for both legal and non-legal employees.
Yep,
So
sure.
we do lots of lunchtime training sessions. There's different programs you can attend.
Yep.
We do a lot of pro bono work as well.
Oh, cool, cool.
Doing our bit for the community.
Yeah.
And we do sort of social events throughout the year as well.
Sure. And then you also have offices in like Cairns, Brisbane, and Melbourne. So do they also do similar kind of work to the Sydney office, or does each office have a specific type of specialization?
So we've got 5 main practice groups here in our Sydney office.
Yep.
So we've got our construction team, our property team, litigation, corporate
Yep.
and workplace relations.
Yep.
So each of the offices have those practice groups. However, obviously there's different clients, different type of work that they would do within that.
Oh, okay.
There
Yep.
would be some crossover between the offices. So
Mm.
if there's a big matter happening, you may get exposure to some of the construction lawyers in a different state as well. So
Mm.
there is that cross-office communication and assistance really.
Sure. And then also the construction work that you do you have clients from like a property like interstate? So for example, a property from like South Australia, and you're working on their matter.
I think primarily our construction team deal with New South Wales-based
New South Wales
clients.
based. Yep.
However, that's not to say that nothing will pop up in the future that is from a different state, so you will get that exposure to a different sort of jurisdiction.
Okay, great. And do you know how big that team big is the construction projects team?
So our construction project team, we would have around 15 to 20 employees.
Okay, sure.
So there's 3 partners, and then we've got a range of senior associates, we've
Yeah.
got associates, lawyers, paralegals, and support staff.
Oh, okay, sure, sure. And then so I'll be working with everyone in the team, or would I would be working with like a specific person as a graduate?
No, so you'd get exposure to all three partners, and under
Yeah.
all three partners, they have their different leads. So as a graduate, you'd get exposure to everything within the construction group.
Oh, okay, sure, sure. Cool. And I was just wondering, so this is like a phone call and kind of like a informal kind of phone call interview. What would be like the next stage of the recruitment process?
So once we finish all of these phone interviews that are happening yesterday, today, and there's one on Friday,
Yeah,
I'll be getting back in contact with everyone early next week,
yeah,
just to let you know if you've progressed through to the next stage of the process.
sure.
That would be a face-to-face interview in our Sydney office.
Okay, sure. And that would be like a structured interview with like behavioral questions and also like,
Yeah, so
um,
it would be again similar to what we've gone through over the phone, talking about your experience, what
yeah,
you're looking for,
yeah,
your law degree. There will be a couple of behavioural questions, nothing
yeah.
too tricky.
Okay, sure.
And then we'd be able to talk more about the construction team and the graduate position.
Sure, sure. Okay, no worries. Thank you very much for your call. And
That's okay.
yeah, I look forward to your email.
Have a nice weekend, and I'll be in contact early next week.
No worries. You too. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.